Giving away 8 suits, and I'm not expecting to wear maybe one more. You understand? Yeah. But I'm not ready for that one. So let me just make a few remarks, and we'll all take some time to reflect a little bit on why we're here. And I'm going to read some of this, if you forgive me for that. But it is a pleasure to have you all here and to gather here to celebrate this event. I want to take a moment to say a few words about these 3 extraordinary people that we know. They've just accomplished something that most people dream about, right? I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be, but being it is a harder road, and a lot of us want to be our best. Well, they've put themselves in a position to be their best, and they've done something, as I was saying, really hard. So I want to just recognize that. Wilson, Antonia, Hunter, you've just completed 3 of the hardest years of your academic lives. You've survived the Socratic method. And best I can tell, that means the Socratic method is a teaching style designed to make you feel like you know absolutely nothing. You know, even after studying all night, you may have felt, man, I don't get this, I don't understand this, but it pressed you to think, it pressed you to understand, and it pressed you to develop skills of looking at the world in a different way that taught you something. You survived your law school finals, the kinds of exams that make college finals look like a Sunday afternoon crossword puzzle. And believe me, Wilson would call us often and say, hey, let's do a crossword puzzle over the phone. And I think it was for relief, so that, you know, it's something easy. And you survived it at George Washington University Law School, one of the finest schools in the country. Think about it, just steps from the very institutions whose laws you will soon be shaping, arguing, and defending. This is no small thing. Like some of those speakers talked about today, you're in a position to uphold things or to help things or to make things better or to ensure that the lives of the people you touch are in some way helped. So those are important things, and it's not a small thing. I remember when Wilson told us that he wanted to go to law school, I was a bit nervous, and I was a bit worried, and I was a bit skeptical.
Sounds about right.
But one thing I will say about Wilson, when Wilson would tell us over time that he wanted to do something, I'll be damned if he didn't do it. If he said, I want to learn to play the trumpet, his band leader said, yeah, but you play wind instruments, playing a trumpet's different. Well, he wanted to play the trumpet. He taught himself how to play the trumpet. And I'll be damned if there weren't times when I saw him playing in a jazz group, playing the trumpet. Right? When he told me, he said, Dad, hey, I want to play hockey at the University of Maryland. I said, Wilson, you can skate, but you've never played hockey. You can't just go to a college and play hockey. He said, well, I want to play hockey. I'll be damned if he didn't try out for the team. He made the junior varsity, and for a while, he played hockey. And it was like, man. So, you know, I'll tell you something that I think, I hope you appreciate, I hope you take this the right way. When Wilson was born, we were living in Alaska. And a guy asked me, he said, well, what'd you name him? I said, well, we named him Wilson Douglas Fletcher, but we call him Willie. And the guy said, you know, Wilson Douglas Fletcher sounds like a politician, but Willie sounds like he might get in trouble with the law. And I said, well, we call him Willie, and that's what we call him. And so, at this point in his life, not only will he not get in trouble with the law, he's going to help ensure that the law and justice is fair. So that is something I want to say about Will. You know, I've watched all of this unfold for the last 3 years. You know, we're close by, a lot of folks can't come into town and stuff. And we've watched them struggle, we've watched this on as it's happening. And I think that becoming a lawyer is, you have to have certain traits. This is my view. You have to have certain traits. You have to be able to be dedicated. You have to be able to be devoted to your subject. You have to have discipline, but you've got to figure things out. You've got to stick to it. and you gotta be decisive at times. And I think those qualities, I know for Wilson, those qualities are things that I have seen over his life that are important. And I think they've helped to lead to this period. Washington, D.C., well, let me read this. I want to read this part. Because people don't always understand lawyers. At their best, they are people who stand between power and powerlessness. They are ones who make sure that the fine print doesn't swallow someone whole. They are the drafters of agreements that let businesses grow, the advocates in courtrooms where someone desperately needs a voice, the counselors who help families navigate the most difficult chapters of their lives. The law is at the heart of civilization's attempt to be fair. And you three are now, with your colleagues, generally speaking, the guardians of that fairness. You're the people who will help to arbitrate right and wrong as you see it, as the law states it. The process of the law, as we live today, upholding the law and justice are pretty critical things. We heard some of that talked about today. And I think that that's very important. So, Washington, D.C. is a fitting place to launch your calling. I call it calling. You studied in the shadow of the Capitol, the Supreme Court, and every agency and institution that shapes American life. You've been surrounded by history and by consequence. I hope that never leaves you, that understanding, that sense that work matters, that it is connected to something larger than a billing cycle or a case file. Now, I know that the bar looms, passing two bars looms, right? I know that that's happening. I know that the first year of practice when you start working can be, as we heard talked about, when you're the new person, can be humbling, can be difficult, when you don't really feel like you could say anything. I know there'll be moments when you wonder why you didn't just get a job and, just do what people normally do without pursuing a higher calling, higher education. I hope you'll remember this night and the smell of these ribs and the grill. I like to say to my grandkids, I burn a lot of wood at my house. I like to say, one day when I'm no longer.
All right.
When you smell wood burning, you think of me. So when you all are in your lives smelling a grill somewhere and smelling barbecue, I remember that day when we had a party, when we graduated, when we made a promise to ourselves that we would go forward in a way that we could be proud of and the people who know us could be proud of. You've already proven now that you can do hard things. So before we give you a toast and raise our glasses to you, I want to say one more thing directly. And I say it to Wilson, and I say it in hopes that Antonia and Hunter hear this, and forgive me for being a little sentimental. We are so proud of you, Will, not just for the diploma, though that diploma is going straight into a frame, but for who you are becoming, Wilson. For your integrity, your dedication, and for the way you show up for the people in your life. The world is going to be better for having you in it as a lawyer, and I genuinely believe that. To Will, Antonia, and Hunter, may your arguments be persuasive, your objections be sustained, and may you always find justice on your side. And with that, I'd say we raise a toast to these people.
Cheers.
Celebrate.
Yeah. Congratulations to my dear niece, Antonia. Congratulations to Wilson and to Hunter. I am so proud of you, Antonia. I'm so proud to be here. But I'm not excited. You see, excitement comes when something new and unexpected happens. We expected you to be here at this place in your life. Antonia has been in the top 5 of our academic group and of our social group since she was in elementary school. It hadn't failed, so we expected her to excel, and she has. Now, getting through law school, particularly George Washington Law School, was hard. And she has overcome much harder obstacles than that. So that makes me extra proud of her. 9 years ago, at the tender age of 20, she lost both her parents within a span of 2 months. She was in undergrad school, and yet she persevered, and she overcome other obstacles that came into her path. She overcame them, and she excelled. So that makes me doubly proud of the obstacles that you've overcome to get where you are. So yes, my dear niece, I'm proud, but I'm not excited. Because we expected you to be here. So again, congratulations. I love you. Again, congratulations to you too. And the best wishes to you in your career.
We're going to get up in front of talking about him in front of people. He's like, Mom, don't do that. He never knows what's going to come out of our mouths. He's looking at me, especially this one. So after a couple glasses of wine, we're a little bit more relaxed. So, Hunter's adventure started about 4 years ago. He was a biological engineering degree, LSU, right in the middle of COVID. Came out after that, thought he would get a job just like his brothers. His brother's in mechanical engineering, and thought he would find a job. Got out there in the workforce, nothing available. Applied to different people, didn't get calls back, nothing, everything was shut down. So his sister helped him get a little case management job, calling people and doing whatever, just enough to make some money. Anyway, he decided he wanted to go to law school, and his older brother wanted to be a lawyer. I'm like, oh no, you can't be a lawyer. I said those, I think of personal injury lawyers, and that is the image I think of attorneys. And I'm like, so I dissuaded him from doing it. But then when Hunter came along, Hunter is our youngest, and he's very knowledgeable, very smart, very intelligent, always remembers everything. And so, but he was a different sort of kid. Some interesting stories about Hunter. He's very, 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 very bright. The brightest of my 3. And all 3 of my kids are bright. And just some things, as he grew up or whatever, I was telling Wilson and some of the other ones earlier, he was going to school with his sister. She was driving him to school. They get all the way to school, and he's like, Rachel, I forgot my shoes. This is high school. Like, how do you forget your shoes? And then, so they had to drive back home. She was furious, needless to say. And then, like another time, John he kind of takes after his dad. Not as smart as his dad, but is laid back, just kind of relaxed, enjoying life, nothing worried. And John got him ready for one day for school. And so I had some kind of meeting, I wasn't there. And so he goes to school, and I pick him up from daycare in the evening, and I look at him, and it's like, we're from Louisiana. So it's like 89, 95 degrees, it's hot. And I'm like, what do you have on? He had full long pants on, long sleeve, and he had a full set of pajamas underneath his clothes. In the middle of the hottest part of the year. And I'm like, anyway, and he never even noticed. He's just always been bright. He always, excelled in math and science. And so engineering just naturally fell into him. And so when he couldn't find that job, after that with COVID, he said, Mom, mean, he's got the smarts because obviously anybody that knows Hunter, I know Fletcher was talking about, he's a gamer. So this whole semester, his last semester, which he has his biggest load, he's in the middle of a battle across the whole world for the first 3 months of the semester. And school was like on the back burner. I'm like, dude, you need to graduate. Today was the last moment when I was getting there. I made sure his name was on there because I still in the back of my mind, you know, like I always think he's not going to do it, but he always excels and he always does well. He's very kind-hearted. I think he's going to be a great attorney because he remembers everything. He always thinks of both sides, you know, especially like John and I are totally different. And he can point out the differences between us and, you know, kind of make us come together in certain things. So that's my aspect of it. Congratulations, Hunter. Congratulations, Wilson. Thank you so much. You met him in Germany. You helped him on his little scooter when he got arrested and been drinking a little bit on the scooter and they hauled him into jail and thankfully for McDonald's, he tested negative, so anyway, and Antonia coming into the picture as well. Congratulations to y'all.
Well, let's see. I'll tell you the funny one first, or the funny couple first that I remember about Hunter. So, as Hunter was growing up, he tried to do the right thing, right? I always do the right thing, Hunter. So Hunter was getting bullied, and in school, you know, he's probably, I don't know, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, I don't remember. And all these kids are bullying me, these boys are bullying me. And she and I didn't agree. Kept going on, you know, and on. And I finally got fed up. I said, Hunter, you tell that little boy that's bullying you, you tell him to stop. You tell him to stop again, and the third time you tell him to stop. If he don't stop, you bust his nose. Well, that's how that works. That's how they learn. So I didn't know what Hunter was going to do the next day. Hunter went to school. I think all 3 stops came out at once. Stop. Beep. But Hunter didn't get bullied anymore. That was the point. He didn't get expelled. So time rocks on a little bit. Hunter's in high school. Thought he was going to get expelled on this one. So Hunter is in algebra or trig or something, one of the big math classes, and the teacher writes up his problems on the board, and everybody's down getting it. Hunter just sitting there looking at the board. All the people around in math class, and finally Hunter and the teacher says, "Aren't you going to write something down?" And no. Hunter just tells her the answer, and she says, "You can't do that." And he said, "I just did." And Hunter got sent to the office. I thought he was going to get expelled for that one, but you know, whoever the lead dog in his class was, what you call that? The valedictorian. The valedictorian's up here. The other one's over. He was in the advanced math class. So, and he said, "I just did." She said, "You can't do that." He says, "I did. You can't." So he went to the office. So as we rock on, Hunter, as Missy said, went to LSU. Had an interesting life there. I wish video games had never been invented, but Hunter
He
would
survived.
have.
Yeah, he did well.
Hunter did a lot of videoing for most of his career, and managed to go and get a degree at LSU. And as Missy mentioned, lived with us for a little while after that. Decided to apply to law schools, and I'll be the first to tell you. I was like, Arizona, cool. Florida, that's good. GW, no. So,
We're from South Louisiana.
I wasn't for GW. I was like, Hunter, you want to go to DC? So Hunter makes his own decision, came up here, and we brought him up here in a U-Haul, and it was a lot of fun. So Hunter has excelled. I wish you the best. I'm proud of you. Thank you very much, Wilson, for
Putting up with him.
being the tutor that his mother couldn't be while he was here, and rewriting his papers and things like that. So
Rewriting, you just don't.
editing. Editing. Call it editing. So thank you, Wilson, for that. Antonia, thank you as well for being one of the three musketeers now, as I called y'all earlier. And I'm proud of each and every one of you. Congratulations.
Hi everybody. So my name is Jennifer, and I am Antonia's first cousin.
My daughter.
Of course, he has to add that in there. But yes, I am his daughter. But I just wanted to say on behalf of the other two first cousins that are here and the other ones that are not here, because for various reasons, we are just so very proud of you. So I'm sorry. Antonia.
Nia.
So, okay, let me explain. Antonia came along when most of us were like teenagers. And so we know her as Nia. So that's why I keep because that's what her nickname was when she was a baby, because to us, she's like, for me, she's years younger than I am. But Antonia always came with us. She was always with us. She always came up in the rear. She was always trying to be a part, and we welcomed her and loved her. And we are just so very proud of her in this moment today, for her perseverance, for all that she's accomplished, even when she was baby Nia, up until now, Antonia. We are just extremely proud of you and all that you are and all that you are becoming, the woman that you have become. Thanks for following in our footsteps of greatness. No, just kidding. No, congratulations for creating your own lane and being all that you were destined to be. So we just want to tell you congratulations, and we love you so very much, and we're proud of you.
Oh, no.
But can you imagine someone getting up at 4 something in the morning so you can study before you go to school? That was Antonia. Wasn't it 4 something? It's early.
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah, it was real early. So, and she's always excelled, and she thought she wanted to be a teacher, but in high school, she was preparing to be a lawyer because she won awards for public speaking, and she was on the mock trial. She's in the mock trial, whatever now they call it. You know what I'm talking about. And whenever she did a project, it was never an ordinary project. It was always going well and beyond. And she never was settled for being less than at the top. And I remember when she was in high school, at the end of high school, she wrote a speech for graduation, right? And they didn't want her to do all of the speech. Well, she ended up doing it anyway. Because she was convicted that that's what it should be. And they decided, she's not going to get her a diploma, right?
Right.
But my sister kind of took care of that. But the bottom line is, she's never settled for just being ordinary. She's always been willing. She didn't just say, I want to be the best and that's just it. She did the work.
Right.
She spent the time. She did the research. She went to the contest. She went over and over and over and over and over and over again. She's always been sweet. Always been sweet. And I thank God, that even though life threw all kinds of things at her, she kind of picked herself up, did what was needed to help herself, and went to the next level. And I thank God for everyone who has helped her. And may God continue to bless her.
Thank you.
Like a little
Okay, first we want to say thank you to everyone for supporting us throughout this journey. Law school, as you've heard from some of the speakers, is truly a challenging journey. And when you factor in life and everything else that happens, it can be a little overwhelming. But we are so grateful to have each and every one of you here to celebrate us. We're so grateful for the support you guys have offered during our harder times. Many of you have seen us cry. Many of you have seen us get really frustrated. But we've persevered and we've overcome, and we're lawyers now. So, thank you everyone for coming out. I really hope you had a nice time. We have the room until 9, so please don't feel rushed. But thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll let Wilson and Hunter say a few words.
Yeah.
You know, lawyers want to talk.
He's a talker.
Yeah, it's been great the last couple of years. And Wilson met 1L and then later met Antonia after they got together after corporations, 2L. Then she moved in and all that, but that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, it's been great. Been nice, good friends, hanging out with the family. So Wilson's family, everything else, right? But yeah, it's been good. And thank you all.
I want to thank you guys for being here. Each and every one of you is here supporting us and loving us. Today's not the first day that started. This has been going on for years. That's the only reason we're standing here together is because of the support of our friends and family, the understanding when we miss calls and birthdays and everything else. Now we no longer have law school to blame for that, so we'll have to be a little bit better about that. But I think in general, the last 3 years has been a lot of growth, a lot of change for me personally, and I'm extremely excited for what's coming next, and I'm excited to practice law instead of just studying law. And one of the things I heard when I was in school, we had a speaker, and one of the things he said is, a professor told me this actually, he said, you don't call it doing law. Nobody says I do law, right? They say I practice law because it's an ongoing practice. You practice and practice and practice to get your knowledge right, to stay up to date, to be the best you can be to advocate for your clients. So I think I'm excited to practice and to get better at this. And one thing I'll leave you with, growing up, I always heard the phrase, everyone would say to me, oh, you would make a great lawyer. And if you don't know what that means, kid, you're a jerk. That's the translation. And I didn't learn that until I started law school, and I found all the people that were exactly like me, and I was like, these are my people. This is my tribe. I found them. So, as part of my tribe, my people, Antonia's been great. We've been together for just over a year now. Things have been wonderful with her. Hunter's been a great friend of me since 1L. We traveled 7 or 8 countries together and explored and learned a ton and came back here, and we've taken classes together, I think, pretty much every semester all of law school. So it's truly been a pleasure to learn, and I hope that journey carries on for all of us. I appreciate you guys being here. We love each and every one of you, so thank you.